Welcome to the Generation Elevation podcast, a conscious, connected platform for those who are ready to manifest their dream life. I'm your host, Elise Riley, a former PT, now motivational speaker, igniting empowerment and transformation all across the globe. Here at Generation Elevation, we are committed to bringing you the most inspiring guests who will share their stories, wisdom, and advice to help you progress closer to living a life of your own terms. Welcome back to another episode of Generation Elevation. Today, I am joined with another special guest whom is actually friends of Simon's. He's Simon's personal trainer. And if you have listened to my podcast for a while, you would have met Simon earlier on in some of my podcast episodes. Now, this man, he's not just a trainer or a coach. He's an entrepreneur. He's the author of the Fitness Bible and the Be the Best You book. He has an amazing story, and I am so honored to have him here with me today to introduce you to the amazing Rick Brennan. Welcome, Rick.
Thanks, Elise. That's a wonderful opening. Thank you very much. It's good to be here.
It's awesome to have you here. I'm actually so excited. I'm really grateful that I've met you, and I'm grateful to have you here today.
Yeah, no, it's good to be here. It's good to be here to have a chat too, and hopefully I can give an insight to who I am and what I do, and hopefully inspire a few other people to do the same thing.
I think we will have no issues there with that for sure. So for my audience, for the listeners, I guess a lot of them may not really know who you are. So for starters, how old are you? Where are you based? Where are you from? And you have two books. Let's start with how you got started onto that journey.
Sure. Well, I'm almost 49 now, so I'm getting close to the big 50. I was born and bred in Brisbane and moved to the Gold Coast when I was about 14 years of age. Football was the be-all and end-all in my life when I was early age, and it took me around the country playing football, and it really wasn't my calling. I didn't really find that I enjoyed it that much, especially sort of after my late teens and my early 20s. I had some severe injuries, and I had a major injury actually in 98, and that was when I developed some clots and then had a stroke. So that was probably the pivot point. That was the big point that changed my life direction. Yes, I've written a couple of books. I suppose the reasons why I wrote the books is being in the industry for 30 years, I've seen a lot of things come and go. I've seen a lot of trends come and go, but I get asked a lot of the same questions day after day. So the initial first book that I wrote, The Fitness Bible, was just basically giving back some of the answers or some of the lessons learnt from my own career. So I wanted to answer the questions, take out a lot of the myths. There's a lot of myths in the fitness industry. Some of the things I see and read these days blow my mind. So I wanted to answer some of the questions that I get asked on a daily basis. So that was the reason for the first book. And then the second book was the fact that, like all of us who have got a bit of ADHD and a bit of a perfectionist in them, I wanted to rewrite the book and extend the version and give a lot more value to what my readers were getting in the first one. So it's an extended version, but I do dive a lot deeper into a lot of the subjects. So, but it was more so about giving back. It was just about, being in this industry for 3 decades, I've seen and heard almost everything that goes on. Yep. Being in the fitness industry as a competitor as well, I've seen a lot of things. I've been around a lot of things, and I've experienced a lot of things. So I just wanted to basically, as I say, share my experiences and give those that are new, maybe that are coming through, or maybe those that are sort of wanting to reach out and find their pathway back towards fitness. Because I think there's stages in our life where we get a little bit lost. And we need to sort of get something to put us back in line to follow. So, I get a lot of clients in their 40s and 50s that come to me and go, look, I was super fit in my 20s. So I really wanted to write that book too, to give them, empower them, I suppose, to give them the skills to be able to take control of their own journey and get back on the horse, so to speak.
So using fitness as a vehicle to help them become the best you or best them.
Absolutely. And look, and that's one thing I do say to everyone I work with, we can only be the best version of ourselves.
Yeah.
Look, it's good to have idols and it's good to look up to different people. But at the end of the day, we can only be who we are. Look, we can get motivation and drive, but I say too, motivation is not something we have. It's something that we do. So, we need to really take things upon ourselves. So, by inspiring and giving people the tools to be able to help themselves, to be better themselves, I think is very, very important. And that's basically what I do from day to day.
That's really great that you get to be yourself and still help people in the process.
Yeah.
And you said that motivation is something that you do. And this is something that I highly resonate with and teach all of my clients, the difference between that action that comes from that motivation or inspiration. And the feeling is very different. And so, Rick, I'm really curious to know what motivates you, what inspires you?
I can't say no to anyone who wants help. Someone who really genuinely wants to improve or better themselves, I find it very difficult to say no to them. We talk a lot about legacies, what we want to leave behind and what we want to achieve. I want to be known as the guy that basically helped change lives through empowering those to believe they can achieve anything, but more so helping them with their skill sets. It's once you understand, basically, it is pretty easy. At the end of the day, for fitness, it's pretty much what we eat, what we do in movement-wise, creates the mindset to be able to achieve almost anything we want to do. So my goal in life was to basically, and now moving forward, is to inspire but also motivate and educate those around them that they can do it themselves. Don't think that it's out of reach. So every day I get out of bed, I think, okay, who am I going to help today? How much value am I going to give to everyone I spend time with today? And I think that's the biggest thing that I credit to my success in the industry and lasting for so long in the industry, is the fact that anyone who does work with me knows the fact that I genuinely care. I want them to achieve what they want to achieve, because in a selfish way, I get that high myself. And I always say this to everyone too. Look, I'm very lucky in the fact that I get to work with people and help them achieve a goal, but really, I'm achieving that myself. So I'm getting taken along through this journey, and I almost get that pat on the back by just seeing them achieve and seeing the results and seeing what changes in their life that they can make through my guidance and help. So in a large way, I think I'm quite selfish in the fact that I get off on watching other people get off on their own journey.
Yeah.
Which is a great way to be.
I'm 100% the same. I think when you are surrounded by people that want you to win, people are your biggest mirrors. So clients or not, any type of relationship that you are in, whether that be intimate, whether it be friendship, whether it be business, if they're winning and people are reflecting that back to you, their win is your win also.
100%.
Yeah.
And I'm very lucky too, the people I work with, they give as much back to me as I give to them. I work with some incredible people.
Yeah.
I work with all walks of life. I've been lucky enough to work with multiple Oscar-winning actors, the top of their tree, top of the field, Olympic champions, the champions of tomorrow, I like to call them, some of the youth that I work with. I work with some of the most successful company CEOs, and some entrepreneurs and developers, and just people that are visionaries in their own time that have gone and just achieved some incredible feats. And to think that I get the opportunity to work and spend my days with these people, helping them become better versions of themselves. But then I'm getting dragged along through this journey by their energy, by their professionalism, by their success. And I'm thinking, this is my job I'm getting paid to do, and I'm just actually getting off on the fact that I'm learning every day with my clients. Yeah. It's quite incredible.
Yeah.
And a couple of my clients. So,
100%.
And how special they are.
They're amazing.
And you mentioned Simon earlier. I get to spend 4 days a week with this gentleman. For those of you who heard his podcast, the guy is inspirational. Some of the things that I've learnt and experiences he shares, you just won't get. Unless you do get the chance to spend with someone like him.
100%. He honestly has changed my life, the way I perceive many things, and he's opened up my mindset to a world of possibilities that I didn't even realize existed. So grateful to Simon. And if you haven't listened to that episode, definitely go check that out. Yeah, for sure. And Rick, this is really exciting because you can hear it in your voice, the passion that you have for what you do. Now, I know that you mentioned that helping people motivates you and inspires you. However, you've attracted all of these people into your life because they're mirroring back to you and that version of you, who you are now.
Yeah.
I want to know the start of your story. You said, you mentioned that you had a stroke playing football, AFL?
Yeah, I played AFL.
And how did that passion be born in you to be doing what you do now?
Football was a be-all and end-all to me as I was a youth growing up. I was an angry child, I will admit. I had a chip on my shoulder. I was very gifted in some ways, but also I had to work extremely hard in a lot of others. Look, I grew up in the middle child. They call this middle child syndrome. But I had an older brother that excelled in almost anything he put his hand to, and being the middle brother following in his footsteps at times was very difficult because of the fact that, he was the guy that was built well. I was the short, chunky little fella with the little man boobs running around. And I had to work a lot harder, but it created a work ethic in me. So I was more frustrated growing up. With football, it was something that I was gifted in doing, and I did it because I was good at it. But did I do it because I enjoyed it? No. But because I just fell into it. And it wasn't until I was in my later teens, and I was lucky. I played in national carnivals and stuff when I was very young. And should have gone and could have gone professional for a long career. If injuries hadn't have stopped me, I would have taken the offers that were on the table. But it wasn't my passion. I didn't enjoy it. One thing I did enjoy, though, was, and this may sound really bizarre, but the feeling that I got when we won and I would see fans and spectators come up and just, you could see you'd made their whole weekend. When you play football, for instance, at a decent level, and people are passionate about it, people live for their weekends to go and watch a game of football.
Yeah.
And I found myself actually enjoying more the fact catching up with people and seeing you light up their weekend because their team won than when I was actually getting it myself playing the game. So, I fell out of love with it, but then the injury really changed my pathway. I got extremely ill. I lost the feeling in my left side for a little while, and I was in hospital for a while. And it's a lot of time to be on your own and be able to think and reassess. Look, I'll openly talk. I was in a marriage at the time too, which just wasn't right for a number of reasons. And I take full responsibility because my head wasn't there, because it wasn't where I wanted to be. So it's certainly not, I'm blaming anyone, other than myself for that. So it was a real wake-up call to say, hey, which direction are you heading in? Where do you really want to be going? Because, you're heading in your 20s now. It's time to act and do something. So I decided, I was in Victoria, to move back, and I got extremely overweight. I fell into depression. I was, the doctors were prescribing antidepressants to me, which I found only made me fall asleep. I recommend don't try them. Don't do them. I was actually standing talking to a client one day and fell asleep on them.
Wow.
Yeah, it was quite interesting. But so then I thought, there's a couple of ways we can do this. We can either take it upon ourselves. I was extremely overweight, as I said, and maybe lose the weight. And I thought, if I could control one thing, and I say this to everyone I work with, you can control what you stick in your mouth, and you can control what you do with movement. So for me, I thought, okay, that was something I could clasp and I could actually, work with. So I was set about, back then, and there was big on those body transformations, 12-week body transformations. Bill Phillips, EAS in America, huge, and they really took off. So I thought, well, okay, I'm going to make myself accountable here. I'll enter one of these Body for Life challenges. So I took some photos. Like most of us who have done that in the past, you're quite disgusted when you see what you look like. But for me, I stuck it on my vanity mirror in the bathroom. It's something that I looked at every day, and I thought, okay, I'm going to do this. So I set about doing a body transformation. Ended up losing nearly 40 kilos in 12 weeks.
Wow.
I won all the competitions that I entered into. It was actually quite funny seeing my photos away at the end, and I'm like sitting there. I actually remember
bodybuilding, yeah?
So now this was the body transformation. So basically you just, your before and after photos. So, I was like mid 120s and got down to, it was about 80, I can't remember exactly, it was either 81 or 83 kilos in 12 weeks, which was quite extraordinary. But I remember getting the photos, and back then you got photos developed, of course. We didn't have the iPhones. We're talking a lot of years ago. And sitting there looking at the photos and going, wow. And I remember actually just crying there like a little boy, because it hit me in the face what I'd achieved. And it wasn't so much the achievement of the body transformation from a physiological, from something I seen in the mirror. It was the psychological changes. I was a different person. So the mindset changes, the self-belief changed, and I thought, you know what, I'm actually going to head home to Queensland. I told a few people at the time a few things I was going to do. Now, at the time, they thought I was crazy. But for me, I find if you're going to voice something that you want to achieve, it makes you more accountable. So And that was the path I took. I came home, and within maybe a month, maybe 6 weeks, I was walking down Queen Street Mall, and I got discovered by an agent that was out from Ford Modelling Agency in America. The next thing I was signed, and I was modelling, doing stuff, So I'd gone from someone really depressed and overweight and really looking for something to do and where to go with my life. And, 2 months sort of after I'd achieved or finished and completed something, I'd done something that, if you'd have told people 4 months earlier, they would have laughed at you. So that was where things really, really changed. And then from there, I went down that pathway and did that for a number of years, did a few movie extra roles and did a few walk-on roles and stuff, and thought, okay, I'll go to NIDA. So I went to Sydney, went and tried out NIDA, and acting really wasn't for me.
That's still amazing.
Yeah, look, it was a good experience.
Yeah.
It was a good experience. And it was a good experience because you learn how to talk a little bit better because there's a lot of voice training and stuff. So I've thoroughly enjoyed that. Thoroughly enjoyed not so much being in front of the camera, but learning from the experts who are in front of the camera all the time. So it was a good opportunity for me to learn. I'm known as a human sponge because I try and sponge off everyone I talk to. I'll always try and take something away from every opportunity of meeting someone new. So, and then I came home and I thought, you know what, went back to obviously the Gold Coast and thought I need to go all in on my PT. And so I did, basically started PTing. Back then I was at Centrepoint Gym, which is now EMF in Bundle. And, things just, really took off. I was speaking to an absolute champion of a guy who's an ex-champion bodybuilder, and Brian Anthony, and he said to me, mate, why don't you do a comp? There's a comp coming up, and I had 6 weeks to get ready.
Whoa.
So when I went, well, what is it? And he said, well, it's probably going to suit you, mate. It's more body shaping. It's, now it's probably the classic look. Not the classic look. What is it? The physique, the board short division.
Yeah.
And WFF was just being established. So anyway, 6 weeks later, he showed me how to pose and everything else and showed me how to tan myself. And I was just a dirty looking mess. But I was lucky enough. I won the state titles. I won the overalls, Mr. Queensland, and then went down and won Mr. Australia a week later, and things just really changed, in a real hurry. So I didn't like the on-stage bit, but I really liked the prepping. I liked challenging myself and seeing how hard I can go and making the brain and the body adapt. So, and that I just fell into basically doing some body shaping events, which 15 years later I was still doing.
Wow.
So it was, so from football, totally, and it took me a long time to actually even watch football. I don't really watch a lot of football even now because of the fact that, I don't know, it seemed like it was my life for a long period. And it's almost something that I wanted to box and put away. It's only just of recent times where I've been able to sit down and watch a game and enjoy it. We all live with regrets, I suppose, and I have many regrets with my football career. But
really?
As you get older, you sort of learn to understand that I certainly wouldn't be where I am today if football had gone in another direction. I wouldn't have met my amazing wife. I wouldn't have the friends. Wouldn't know the people I know. So I feel very blessed that football didn't work out for me because, as I said to you before at the start, I'm doing something at 50 that I couldn't dream of doing 20 years ago.
Living the dream. Living the
dream, being able to work with incredible people every day and being able to share and learn and be able to develop and, work in unison, I suppose, to create a common goal.
It's really powerful. Like, I heard this saying the other day that you can't really connect the dots forward. And sometimes when looking back, you can start to connect them and go, oh, those things that happened to me, like my injuries, stroke, all these little moments for you that may have been at the time huge setbacks have actually set you up to be exactly who you are today.
And absolutely, I totally agree. And I use that with my clients all the time. There's going to be key pinnacle moments. There's going to be moments in our life that at the time you're going to think that things could never get any worse. But then you look back in time and go, hey, that was the turning point that enabled me to change my life and be who I am today. And without those moments, I wouldn't be who I am today. So it's actually they're the moments we have to be most thankful for. And I've certainly got a few of them. So and that stroke looking back is probably the moment that it changed my life.
Yeah, definitely. And that was going to be my next question was like those moments for you, those turning points, those let's say miracles that you'd be open to diving into, whereby like these things happen to you but also for you and have now shaped you to who you are today. What would those things be? Obviously you've got the stroke, and what else would you be open to diving into?
Look, I say we've all had things that have happened in our life that we are not fond of, even at times we're possibly more ashamed of. We all have stains, but we can all wash those stains and move forward, and from those lessons learn and be able to become better people.
Yeah.
Look, I've had a past like all of us have had. Probably the most pivotal, other than obviously the stroke, meeting my wife was a major. Look, that turned my life around in so many ways because we do things. It's funny, too, we become more resilient. Okay, so obviously the stroke happened. I changed my life for the better, and things happened and things were moving forward. But then I had other hurdles that came along in the 2009, 2010 that were really out of my hands. So, but look, meeting my wife, that was the biggest thing now that, in a positive way moving forward. She's the sun that lights up my world. She's sort of the believer and the one who pushes me to be the person I am today, and it really instills that self-belief to be who I am. Mm. So the best thing about, obviously, my experience is the resilience that I've been able to build. An enormous amount of resilience because of the fact that, and we all are resilient. I think a lot of us don't realise at times that how resilient we are, because we can all look back and go, hey, and I'm not telling you these stories for any other reason than we've all lived a story. We've all got a story. We've all got to be resilient and all have become resilient because of certain reasons. And that's what's made me who I am. And I suppose that's the reason why I work the way I do and want to give the value I want to give to people.
Yeah, 100%. And thank you, Rick, for sharing that story here on my podcast. I think a lot of people will hear that and understand and resonate as well. Yeah. Because what I want to know is just how you've managed to keep that faith, keep that light, and knowing that, yes, you can't connect those dots forward. However, you've managed to hold the faith and hold the hope that people will see you for who you really are, your true authenticity. Like how have you managed to keep that with you this whole time, this whole journey?
Well, I know my passion. I know why I do what I do too. And that's one thing I try and get across to everyone I work with too, know your why. Because if you know your why, and it's strong enough and you've got the passion, you'll succeed in anything you do. So for me, I just kept showing up. We hear all the time people say, stay on the grind, 10,000 hours will, allow you to be an expert in your field. Well, I work on the fact that I've probably done 60 hours of PT and one-on-one training for the last 30 years. So I think I worked out it's probably 50,000 hours. So I think by just turning up and doing the hours and doing the time and being passionate about what I do has enabled me to keep moving forward, not dwelling on the past. We're here we don't know how long. Could be a short time. I'm hoping I'm going to be here for a very long time. Yeah. So, and to know that, I think it's important for all of us to know that really, do you want to leave a legacy? And if it is, what do you want to leave? I don't have children, can't have children. So for me, the legacy for me is about leaving my mark, and that people can look at me in a few years' time and say, you know what, he helped change my life. My wife jokes that people call me the life changer because of the fact that I empower people to have self-belief and give them the tools to be able to take that and be able to change their own life. So, for me, it was about showing up. It was about, I love doing what I'm doing. There's always going to be haters. It took me a while to understand that too. And especially with social media, look, I'm authentic, but it was about, I see it time and time again. People put things up and they're not their true self. And I think for me, it was a matter of, I didn't want to put anything up because I didn't want anyone to know who I am because of what went on in my past. Yeah. I've spoke to you about that openly before. And that's the reason why I struggled to be able to do a lot of it, because I didn't want people to have that in the back of their mind, what they'd seen, heard or read in the past. But I'm like, you know what? And that's what I said earlier, like the stains don't determine who we are. We've all had things. So by continually showing up, people then understand that, hey, that may have happened, it may not have happened. But even regardless, this is who I am now, and this is who I am, and this is this is the value I'm going to give anyone who comes my way. And the greatest form of marketing is always word of mouth. Yeah. And from people I've worked with has given my business the ability to grow in the way it has. And, I don't know too many trainers who've been in the industry for 3 decades and then still get up at 4 a.m. and do what I do every day and absolutely love it. Like I absolutely genuinely love doing what I do. Yeah. So I think, having a passion, knowing what my why is, knowing I wanted to give value and leave my mark and really have a legacy that I wanted to leave. Things have happened. They've made me more resilient. It's enabled me to understand what people go through from a mental point of view. So if I ask someone to do something, I explain to them, I've been where you have been. You know, I've had hurdles. I've jumped those hurdles. So I understand where you're at. So, you know, don't think you're on your own. We're here to work together and let's go and achieve some goals. And it works.
I think what makes a powerful leader is someone that can truly be in that integrity and say, well, yeah, I think you should do these things, or my advice is to do these things or make these decisions because I've been there and I've done that and I'm doing that.
Yeah.
I think those people that have that fear of becoming that person that they want to be and achieving that goal is maybe because they haven't done those things yet.
Totally.
And it's not that next easy and effortless step for them. Like there's a few more steps in between that they need to take.
Exactly. I've walked in the shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've worn little shoes, big shoes, ladies' shoes, men's shoes, boys' shoes, you name it. I've worn all types of shoes. So I've walked your path. And I think that's the authenticity that I bring to every client I work with is the fact that I know where you're at because I've been there myself. You know, I've done those yards. And I think that's what comes across with everyone I work with. So they tell me.
Yeah. And for the listeners who maybe do not know their why or do not know what they're passionate about, maybe they're listening, wondering what they should do with their life, like what would be your advice for them?
From a business point of view, find out what you really enjoy. Okay, so it could be anything. You know, if you want to paint and you love painting and it makes you feel good, you know what? Maybe do some paintings and see if you can sell those paintings. But do whatever it is. If you like cutting grass, and I love cutting grass, you know what? If I was in a PT, I'd probably be a groundsman.
Yeah.
Because I love, people who know me will laugh at this too, because I love my lawn. My lawn is something that I take great pride in. I like my lines in my lawn and I like I like my edges cut clean. So, you know, if I wasn't PTing, I'd possibly be a lawnsman, you know, a groundskeeper or working at one of these football grounds because I love that stuff. So find what you enjoy. If you can then make a business from doing what you enjoy and monetize it, you're in a really good position. You know, I'm lucky. I love fitness. I love food. I love nutrition. I love coaching. I love helping people and seeing them change and turn their life around. And at the same time, I get rewarded because that's how I earn my living. So I think for everyone, if you go into a career, for instance, and you are doing it from a monetary point of view, I think you're in the wrong industry. Yeah, and I know we hear that time and time again, but really do something that you absolutely love. Someone asked me this, and I've been asked before, you know, if you won $10 million tomorrow, would you do what you do? And of course I would. I would absolutely get out of bed and do what I do tomorrow. I probably wouldn't work as many hours, but I'd certainly do what I do. And that to me shows what I'm doing is what I'm meant to be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. And I entirely resonate with that. Like, I think the most valuable thing more than money is time.
Yeah.
And if you're doing something for the sake of money, you're wasting time.
Absolutely.
So if you're doing something because you actually love it and this is how you want to spend your time and you can also get paid for that as well, it's like you're being paid to be yourself. And I think that's where the biggest authenticity piece comes in, because if you're doing what you love, of course you're going to be authentic.
And you're going to be damn good at it.
Yeah.
I think that's the big thing too. You'll find why people are really, really good at something, and I don't care. Money will only be a driver to a certain point. If you really love doing what you're doing, you love what you're giving. And I always say too, the more we give, the more we get. So by enjoying what you're doing and giving value to those around you, you're in a really lucky position in life because life becomes very, very easy. Early days, late nights, you can just roll with those because of the fact that you're actually loving what you're doing.
And I'd love to hear your advice, Rick, for those that are giving a lot at the moment and potentially like just starting out in their journey, whatever that may be, and they're giving. They may not be seeing those results that they want to see yet. However, they have that unwavering faith that it's going to work out. And maybe their environment, the people around them are questioning that, thinking that, oh, you're crazy. Like you mentioned before, people seeing the things that you have done and achieved going, oh, like, Rick, you're mad.
Yeah, basically all the time.
Yeah. What would be your advice for those people?
Never stop learning. Make yourself that good. Make yourself that valuable that people want a piece of you. I don't stop reading. I don't watch TV. I don't watch news. All I do is I'm learning every moment I'm not at work because I want to be the best I can possibly be at what I do. So if you are really passionate about and you're starting out, upskill is the most important part of your journey. Learn daily, learn from who you're with daily, pick people's brains, watch what they do. Yes, follow and observe and watch those who you want to follow in their pathway. Look, you can idolize people, but you need to be your own authenticity self. So basically learn as much as you possibly can, make yourself that incredibly valuable that people want to work with you. And eventually things happen. You know, when I came home, you know, early 2000s, and I was only doing PT basically on the side of doing, you know, the modelling gigs and a few other things. I basically said to myself, you know what, if I'm going to make this, I need to go all in, but I also need to make myself extremely valuable. So what can I start doing? I also need to make myself available. So by making yourself valuable and available, I think they are two very important factors in making you a very, very successful person in the industry. So that's the biggest thing. Just, you know, people say grind. Do you know what? Yes, it does take hard work and it does take a lot of time. A lot of people want quick fixes. You know, we live in a society now of immediate gratification.
Yeah.
And I think that's, you know, a big hurdle for a lot of people because, and look, social media has a lot to do with that as well. You know, you see people, you know, living the flash lifestyle when, look, let's face it, a lot of the time social media, people put up there things that they want you to see of themselves. You know what? They're not showing warts at all. So at the end of the day, you know, they're showing the shiny things, but you know, what about the things that are tarnished? So, you know, just be authentic, just be who you really want to be, follow your passion, learn, never stop being the learner, never stop being the student, because the day you actually think you know everything is the day you've lost the battle. Be the student. I am still to this day, every time I get the chance to work with someone or listen and learn from someone, I become a student and I want to take something away. You know, and after, you know, 30 years in doing this, yeah, I know a lot, but I tell you what, I don't know as much as I actually know. So my journey now is about how much more can I learn and how much more, because then I'm going to be able to relay and give that to the people I work with. So yeah, never stop learning, never stop following your goals, but, you know, always know that it's going to take time. It's not about the shiny things now. It's about having a short-term goal, but then a long-term goal as well. So, you know, don't be hard on yourself too, because you're going to hit hurdles. You're going to stumble at different times. And look, lessons in life are not losses. And I say that to everyone. There's things that are going to happen and you're going to feel like you've lost everything. But my greatest losses are the lessons that have put me where I am today. Certainly are. So, you know, when we do hit those obstacles, take away from those things that maybe you should learn so you don't do them again, and maybe put yourself in a different position. And look, that was one of the things when I, you know, that jail incident, I decided then I wasn't going to put myself in the position that anything could ever happen like that again. So, and not that I did anything wrong coming home, but there is positions in life. There's times and places and positions and things will come up in your life where you get that split decision or that split second to make a decision. And that split decision can change your life. So I just think be very aware of, you know, what you decide on what you're going to do, because it can impact you in a massive way. But at the same time, decisions change lives. And I say it only takes one positive decision to be able to change your life for the better. And we all get the opportunity to make that one decision. We've got a decision now, we've got a decision tomorrow morning. And I use this with my clients. So you make the decision tomorrow morning when you get up, what you stick in your mouth. You get the decision tomorrow morning to get up and get out of bed and put your shoes on when you possibly don't think and feel like it. You get that opportunity. And you'll be amazed when you take the opportunity and you make that decision, what actually then happens to you. Because some crazy things happen to me on my morning walks. Every day at 4 a.m. I'm at the road. But that time on my own gives me opportunity to think about things, assess where I'm at, assess what I've done for the week, maybe reassess at times, but then also be able to set things in place where I'm going to go for the next few days. So we all have that decision. We all think certain things, especially with COVID, you know, a lot of decisions and a lot of the power was taken away from us. But I also think it's created a lot of opportunity for us to make different decisions. So there's opportunities that you and I off air was talking about this before. There's opportunities at the moment to be so successful in so many different fields. So if you are passionate about something, to go back on what you said, and you're passionate about lawns and you want to cut lawns, you know what? Go and cut lawns and be damn good at it. So then people hear about how good your lawns are. So then all of a sudden you get hired and get your dream job. But make that decision now, and you know what? Follow your passion, and then when that opportunity does arise and that decision does arise to make sure you make a good one.
I think Simon would like this one. Well, while you were talking, what come through for me is that life is literally a compounding impact or effect of your decisions.
Yep.
Your life is a compound of your decisions.
Totally.
And like the decisions you make now of who you want to be and how you want to show up in this world is going to impact who you are tomorrow, the day after, a month, years later. And the fact that you decided to keep being you, to keep believing in your vision and your goals and your dreams is why you are where you are today. Because even in those setbacks and those times where it felt like losses and things were happening to you, you can now look back and realize that they've actually happened for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally. And look, those that are struggling out there that, maybe think that, they're in a dark pathway or, they're hitting, brick walls, just stay positive, because at the end of the day, you will get the opportunity to make a decision that is going to change your life. The day you lose hope and the day you stop making your own decisions, we all get the opportunity to write our own story. Don't hand the pen to someone else to write your story. You all control that pen and write your story daily. And we all have that. We all have that power. Don't give that power of handing the pen to someone else.
And no decision is a decision.
No, yeah.
By not deciding how you want to write your story, someone else will grab that pen and write it for you anyway.
Absolutely. Do not give anyone the opportunity to write the story for you.
Yeah.
You control your destiny. You write your own story.
100%. And like you said, opportunities are every single second. And it's whether you are prepared enough to make that decision when they do arise to say yes and go all in on your goals. And it might feel unknown, it might feel uncomfortable, might have that fear come up, like what if I'm not good enough? All of these limiting beliefs may test you. However, that is the initiation into that next version of you, that best version of you.
Best version of you, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you have the pen to write the best version of you.
Yeah.
Don't give that power to someone else.
Yeah, I'm curious to know, like with everything that you have learned throughout your journey, if you were, let's say, like to die tomorrow, what would be like that thing you'd want to leave the world with? Like what is that greater vision? Like what would you want to leave the world with?
Wow. Well, I'd like to leave the world with, if you're talking about people, what they would think about me and who I was as a person, that I was a resilient, passionate, purposeful, driven person that wanted to give nothing but extreme value to help other people become better versions of themselves. Someone who really got off on the fact that they were able to be a helping hand in someone else's life. We get in return 10 times, tenfold. And that's one thing I've always lived my life by. And my mantra is never wish for something more than I'm prepared to work for. And that's something I've always stood by as well, which has given me that desire, I suppose, but also that work ethic to be able to keep going. Look, I hope that people realise when I leave this world that they can achieve the certain things that they may think are unachievable. Nutrition has been a huge part of my life, and I think that there's been a lot of misconception and there's a lot of myths around that have made people maybe believe they can't achieve something. I want to allow people to believe the fact that by having a clear-cut understanding of what they do, from what they stick in their mouth to what they do movement-wise, they do have that control to maybe change and to improve and be the best version of themselves. That's one thing with my nutrition, with my clients I actually do work with. When we break things down and I show you where you're at and why you're there and make you accept responsibility to where you are at the moment. It can be a bit of a slap, but it's an awakening, and it's actually a really good moment because that's where I am now. If I just subtly change this and this and this, which is not that big a deal, I'm actually going to be stepping one step closer, maybe 2 steps closer to achieving the ultimate goal. We get one life and life goes by very, very quickly. And to think that an opportunity to make a decision now, which is going to be able to change that direction and allow you to live the life you want to live, but also achieve those things that you want to achieve. It drives me insane when I hear time and time again people say that I wish I could do this, I wish I could do that. And I'm like, well, you've got the tools to do it. Sometimes you don't have the self-belief, but it's there. You just need someone to sometimes rip down and tear back the layers and make you understand and see that it is there. So for me, that's really, I know I'm going around this in a long-winded way, but I want to leave my market to everyone understand that they can achieve everything that I've achieved, because I'm just like everybody else. I was a lost little boy for a lot of my life until I found something that I was truly passionate about. And then I built my career on something of passion, and then persisted, and then became resilient when times got tough, to be able to know that my why was far greater than those tough times, to keep moving forward. And, if people can read my story or listen to my story and see where I've been able to achieve, I'm no different to you. If I can do it, you can do it as well. I think that's the biggest message, or, the legacy that I want to leave with everyone, is to know that you can achieve what you put your mind to if you're the passionate and the work ethic is there.
And you make that decision to go.
You make the decision. Totally you do. Yeah, don't go. You can't point things at everyone else all the time, and that really drives me insane. Yes, nothing's meant to be easy. Like, we can be born into wealth, we can be born into money, we can be born into genetics. But I can tell you now, I didn't have the genetics to do what I do. I just worked damn hard. And the victories from working for things harder than that come natural to others are far greater victories. I'm glad that I had to work harder to get to where I have, both in business and with my physiques, with the shows and so forth, because I wasn't gifted. But the sweetest victories are the ones that you work harder for, that come that little bit later. And that's one thing that I really, really, truly understand now. At the time, I probably didn't. At the time too, it was poor me. How come I haven't had the breaks? Why has this happened to me? Why has this legal thing happened? What's ridiculous? But to look back on it now, I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change anything, because it's made who I am, and it's given me that resilience, and it's also given me that burning desire, or that passion to grow my passion even further. So, yeah.
What came through for me then is, I think I spoke about this with you the other day in regards to booking a holiday and wanting the end result. You have that goal in mind. Let's say it is that body transformation, or is that business, and hitting that certain milestone of money coming in per month, and you get the trophy. You book the holiday. You book the holiday and you actually get the end destination, which is literally just coming back. You skip the whole thing, you book it, you skip the holiday, and then you come back home and you've just done that. Like, that's the end destination if you think about it, versus the reason why we book the holiday isn't just to come back home and hit that end destination, that quote unquote trophy. It's actually to experience the journey, experience the ups, the downs. Maybe there is a flight delay. Maybe there is things that have that are not part of the plan, but all happen for you to be a part of that greater experience, for you to be like, wow, I went on this crazy holiday and had some ups and had some downs, and I'll remember that forever, versus like just getting to the start and end point, which is just, not moving at all.
Totally, yeah. And look, that's one thing with the bodybuilding. It's for me, the best times was the journey. I hated stage. I absolutely hated it. I hated the tanning. I hated the getting in the little sparkly trunks. I hated posing. People used to laugh at me because they'd say, "You done your routine?" And I'd go, "No." And I'd end up fluffing around the night before and work out, hopefully get some music. It was actually funny. Here's one here. Like the world title I won in 07, I wasn't going to compete. And I was over with another guy, and then I decided at the last minute I was going to compete. And it was 4 days out. And I had kept myself in condition from 3 weeks earlier, but we had to go and find music. Because, and we're in Germany, and here I am trying to find a CD. I had no idea of posing routine. We finally found a CD right at the death knock on our way to registration. Anyway, I don't even know what language, and it was just the most weirdest song. And I remember just standing there fluffing around and everything else. But, for me, as I said, it's not that much the stage. For me, it was the journey. I learned more about myself. I learned what it's like to be put myself in a position where you really got to work hard, but also when your body has to adapt, to put yourself under times of stress. You know what I mean? And that was the biggest thing. So, but also what that taught me in 07 was always put yourself in a position where that opportunity arises that you can grab it with both hands and run with it. Because if I competed 3 weeks earlier and I had no intention of competing, and I'd let myself go, like a lot of people do post-competition. They get on the bender of the food. I would have been over there, and I wouldn't have been in a position where I was able to step on stage and do what I did, in 4 days preparation. So, put yourself in a position in life that you never know when an opportunity is going to come knocking. And if you, when you said earlier about, for those that are starting off who are wanting to get a break maybe, yes, always learn, always try to give and get more, but then also always put yourself in a position, because you don't know when an opportunity is going to come. And when that opportunity arises, if you're there and you're prepared, that's when luck. It's not luck. It's the hard work that's gone in to that preparation to put you in that position when that opportunity did arise.
Simon even spoke about this in his episode as well, about luck is just when preparedness meets opportunity.
I love that. I like that. That is something that would come out of his mouth too.
Of course.
Yeah.
And for me, preparedness isn't just about, yes, it's the learning of external sources, like for yourself, like the nutrition, the gut health, the training. Yes, of course. However, being prepared also involves that self-belief piece.
Oh, yeah.
It's doing the inner work on yourself to realize that within you have the capability and all the knowledge that you need within to say yes to these opportunities, even if you don't feel ready yet.
Yeah.
Like, you're never actually going to be truly ready to step into that goal, that dream, or that next version of you, because it's that transition phase. It's that initiation of surpassing old beliefs, old fears for you to fully expand and grow into that next level. And that's it's not to say never keep learning, but it's also keep learning and being prepared within yourself as well. Know your craft and also know yourself.
Totally. If everyone waits until they believe they're 100% ready, you'll never get anything done, because you'll never be 100% ready. Do you know, there's two things that stop a lot of us from achieving, and this is what I say to everyone I work with. And when they collide, and the synergy of both together can be very destructive. And that is, one is ego. Okay. Ego can be very good for us, but can also stop us. And the other one's insecurities. So normally insecurities are formed through ego. So you're worried about what other people are going to think, whether I'm not as good as what I thought I was, what as good as other people think I was going to be. And
what if I fail?
What if I fail? Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you can actually then try that one thing and then find out, hey, I actually really enjoy this, regardless of how good you are. But then you can go down a whole new pathway of actually then mastering a skill. So don't let ego stop you from doing. Don't let insecurity stop you from doing something. Actually go and do something and try something. You may surprise yourself that actually you may be okay, but more so you may actually enjoy it.
Yeah, instead of what if I fail, reframing that to what if I succeed?
What if I succeed? Give myself that opportunity. And we're talking about opportunities. And opportunities arise. So when opportunity comes and you may be put outside your comfort zone, do you know what? Try and step outside your comfort zone once or twice. You may be surprised what happens. Outcomes from being uncomfortable can create incredible success, and I've certainly put myself in very uncomfortable positions a lot of the time, but it's made me grow. Speaking to large groups, I just come off Melbourne from speaking with a company I'm very lucky to work with in Spotlight. And, years ago, if you had told me I'd be on stage and, talking in front of hundreds of people, sometimes thousands of people, I would have been, oh, wow. I don't think I can actually achieve that. And then the first time I did it, I was like, okay, I lit up. Something happened internally with me. Something happened. There was a fire inside me that I actually didn't know that existed inside me. And, I've then found my passion that by being able to speak to a wider audience and be able to get on stage and feel the energy and the electricity that I get from being in that environment, I actually learned more about myself. So, I thank God that the fact that I did do it years ago, but you know what? We've all got ego, but it's whether or not you use it in the right way, in the right context. Ego can be very, very good, very, very powerful. So what I'm getting at, step outside your comfort zone. Try something that you may have thought you never would, because you know what? You may be very good at it. And even better still, you probably love it.
100%. And that is for those people listening who may be feeling a bit lost or not sure what they are passionate about. Maybe try something that you've never done before. What is that thing that you've always wanted to do, but it scares you a little bit? because it's that comfort zone. It's not what you're used to. And just start chasing it, start testing yourself, start learning how to trust your decisions, trusting yourself. So when those bigger decisions do come along, those bigger opportunities, you will trust yourself enough to follow through, to step up, to say yes. And even though you don't feel ready, to give it your best shot.
Totally. Learn to be very comfortable being very uncomfortable. And that's certainly something I think a lot of us need to master, because we're all going to come to very uncomfortable positions and situations. But it's amazing what you do in those situations can actually change your life.
Yeah, Joe Dispenza even says that the magic happens in the unknown zone.
And there you go. That's so true.
Yeah.
Absolutely so true.
I resonate completely with my event that I ran on the weekend as well. My elevation event. I remember just having a little bit of like, oh my gosh, like this is something that I've wanted to do for so long, and I know that I'm born to do this. However, doing it is a totally different thing. So to be able to, like, when I first opened those doors to all these people standing outside ready to come in to see me, I got a little bit emotional. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is it. And for me, like I fully made that decision to commit, to trust in myself in that unknown zone, and same thing, realize that, oh, actually I am really good at this. I known that I was. However, now I really know.
Totally, because you actually put yourself out there.
Yeah.
I think too many of us don't do that. A lot of people I talk to and deal with and work with, they're always holding back because of the fear. You know what? Don't let fear stop you. Let fear empower you to actually try something new. Absolutely.
Feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yeah, God, yeah. I love being uncomfortable now. The more times I can be uncomfortable is the more I end up enjoying something, because I actually learn something about myself.
Well, excitement and fear are the same feeling.
Yeah.
Except excitement is just you have the breathing going on. That fear is holding your breath. So if you breathe through it, maybe it's actually excitement that you're experiencing.
And all of this we're talking about too, I relate back to health and fitness and wellness.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, a lot of people do have fear. They have fear about going to a gym. They have fear about what people are going to think about them. They have fear about, what if, or can they actually do something? If I could do anything, I just want encourage everyone to actually try something, because it's amazing what you will be able to achieve.
Health and fitness is a vehicle towards the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
There's so many vehicles that you can take, whether that be business, relationships, and health and fitness is just another one of those vehicles that help people discover who they really are and what they're really capable of.
Totally.
And I think it's an extremely important foundation that everyone must learn about in some sort of level or degree.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, for sure.
Like my training, and I think I mentioned this off air too, my training used to be at some stages of my life about what I saw when I looked in the mirror, as a physiological side, but now it's psychological. I train for what it does for me mentally. I eat for what it does for me mentally. I eat for gut health and I eat for productivity. So, for instance, I used to be a chocolate eater, and I won't eat chocolate at night time now because of the fact that I know I won't sleep well. The fact that I won't wake up the next day and feel like I want to feel. I train now because of the fact that, yes, vanity is a part of life with all of us. I don't care what anyone says, because you tell me someone who doesn't go to leave the house and look at the mirror to make sure their hair's right, their pants are right or something, their shirt's pressed. So vanity plays a part in all their life. So vanity's always going to be there. But
I think it's an element of self-respect as well.
Well, there's that as well.
Yeah.
Totally. But it's about how you feel about yourself when you're by yourself. And by training, or movement I like to call it, because training can come in so many different capacities. Like if you like to swim, you swim. You want to run, you run. If you want to do weights, hey, do weights. But pick something that you enjoy so it's sustainable. Enjoyment comes from sustainability. Okay, and sustainability, I'll get it out. It comes from enjoyment. So find what you enjoy and do it. Okay, and that's something big as well. But yeah, I do things now because of the way it makes me feel, not the way I look. And again, that is a message that I try and get across to everyone I work with. If people come and they want to work with me, it's not all about you need to do this, this, and this. It's about, okay, what do you currently do? What do you enjoy? All right. And from that, we map out, move forward about, okay, yes, you should do that. Yes, you can do that. Maybe minimize that. It's about subtle changes, and it's about giving and delivering on something that you're going to be able to sustain because you enjoy it. So think about that too, and think about making small, subtle changes. Don't think about reaching that top of the mountain straight away. It's step by step. Think about the step in front of you. You know what I mean? Look, it's great to have an end goal, but I think having too big a expectation on yourself to reach that goal too quickly takes out the enjoyment factor of what you said earlier, the journey. Mm-hmm. The journey is what creates us to be the people we are. So small victories along the way allow us to have enormous victories at the end. And it also enables that journey to be enjoyable.
Yeah.
I think that is so important. Enjoy what we do.
100%, because by the time you get to that end destination, like those habits that you've developed along the way, like that is why you wanted that destination in the first place. And another metaphor I use with clients is if you put a location or a destination in a GPS in Google Maps, for example, and you have to drive at night, like you can only really see the next 20 meters in front of you. It's like follow that next step. Don't worry about all the twists and turns an hour or two into your drive.
I like that.
It's actually, firstly, you need to turn the car on, then you need to accelerate, and then you take the first like road, wherever that may be. And then you worry about the next destination or the next stop or the next turn after that. You don't worry about the things that you can't see, because at the end of the day, like those steps will reveal themselves as you get closer and it will be less overwhelming. Imagine if I said to you, Rick, like you've got to get to A to B and here are all the like directions, you would only remember like the first couple and then kind of get lost after. Depending on how long the destination is between A to B. So it's always just focus on that first step. What's the first thing that you have been putting off that you really want to do, but you just keep saying, oh, like I'll save that for later. What's that thing for you guys that you really want to do, but you just haven't done yet? Go do that right now.
Yeah. Don't wait. I hate that. That's one reason I hate about New Year's resolutions. I absolutely despise New Year's resolutions.
Me too.
You get into December and people are saying, or it gets even sort of closer around Christmas time and people are saying to me, what's your New Year's resolution? And I said, well, I don't have one. Because why wait for another 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever days it is? Start now. We're all waiting. A lot of us are waiting for that particular time, day. What's wrong with now? So there's never going to be a perfect time, which we spoke about earlier as well. So act upon your decision, act on your thoughts, act on your dreams, act on your direction and what you want to travel in now. Don't wait for tomorrow. Put things in place now. I hate hearing it because you know what? Tomorrow you could be, 12 hours already into your journey. By next Monday you could be, 48, 72, whatever it is, hours ahead into your journey. Start now because you grow momentum pretty quickly too.
100%. Your ideas are your messages. Like you get different ideas, the listeners get different ideas, I get different ideas because we all have different journeys and different destinations that we are going towards. If you have that idea, or maybe I should just start eating healthy, or maybe I should start working out, or maybe I should start that business or work on my content or make that live video, whatever it is for you, maybe I should join that sporting club, maybe I should go and get a massage, whatever that is. Go do that now within the moment that you have that idea because it's a message for you.
Yeah, exactly right.
It's leading you on the path of least resistance towards that destiny that you have that's been calling you. And it's that decision whether you decide to step forward and like I guess in that hero's journey like towards that is calling you. Yeah. Because you're the only person that is going to be the uncooperative component in all of this.
Totally. You're the one that's holding yourself back. You need to step outside and actually be the creator of the momentum and move and do it now. Yeah. It's amazing too once the wheels start turning.
Yeah, 100%. You are the creator of your experience. And I think, Rick, you are an absolute testimony to that. Like how you've created who you are today and the world that you live from everything that you've experienced. Like you are an extremely powerful creator based off your ability to make fast decisions and trust yourself and to be yourself regardless of what others say or around you.
And look, people are going to assume or they're going to, I suppose assumption's the biggest thing, who you are and what you're about. But if you're authentic to who you are and what you believe in, and what you want to offer, and I'm talking about offering the world, offering everyone around you. Do you know what? Just keep going forward. Keep following your dream, keep following your goals because you know what? We're never going to please everyone. We're always going to find someone who's going to have something to say, whether it's negative or whether it's questioning you and your passion, whatever it may be. But if you are really passionate about what you're going to do, just keep moving forward. Know who you really are. And I think that's the problem that maybe a lot of us don't truly understand too is, and I ask a lot of people to take stock, take inventory of their life. Sit down with a piece of paper when you're on your own to think about where you are, why you're there, the reasons why things have happened in your life. Okay. And then say, what can I control right now to move forward? Because a lot of us are too busy living their life without accepting the fact that we are where we are because of what we've done. So then I think once you actually do take stock and take inventory, and I suggest everyone should do this on a regular basis, put down some things that you want to achieve, work out what your why is, then sit down and work out what you're currently doing. And if you're not doing things currently that are going to help you achieve those end goals or authentic to your why, reassess. Put down some future things that you need to do now to change that and start moving forward to achieve that. Don't just go through life like a boat without a rudder with really no true direction because you don't sit down and take stock of where you are and why you're there. Because we can all point the finger at someone else. And once you do take that control, because it's control, we control our destiny through our decisions.
You are the creator.
We are the creator. So, at the end of the day, take stock, take inventory, see where you are, why you're there, and then reassess and then make future plans that are going to enable you to create the journey that you want to go on.
So what is this journey that you are now on, Rick? Where are you taking this all?
Yeah, look, my journey now is to go, I'm going global over the next couple of months. I've been lucky over the last 4 or 5 years, and COVID changed things a little bit. Then I started touring in China and I was spreading the word on health and wellness through China, and obviously a lot of things went pear-shaped. For me, now moving forward, it's about spreading the word with what we've spoken about today is about, believing in yourself. Find your passion, know your why, and then leave no stone unturned to be able to go and achieve that result. I want to empower people through education and motivation, I suppose, to a large extent to give them the tools to be able to take back that power. Because a lot of us feel powerless because we really don't know. We can feel helpless because of the fact that there's too many questions unanswered. And if I can be that person that helps guide and answer those questions, because I've walked the journey and I still am walking the journey, to help you on your journey, to help you succeed and achieve some results. So that's where I see myself moving forward in a much bigger dynamic way, as in hitting the masses. I want to sort of work with a lot more people on a bigger number basis. I'll be doing a lot more international work. So you'll be seeing my face a lot more on social media and a lot more on my app. My app's about to launch and stuff in the next few weeks. I'll be working a lot more with some big corporate companies, which I absolutely love. Having the ability to work with people of influence is something that I really thrive on, because, if I can give someone of influence 2 or 3 extra skills that they can then go and share, because, whether you realize it or not, if you're a person of influence, and a lot of you out there, no doubt people of influence, what you say, think, and then actually do in action impacts not only just yourself, but it impacts everyone around you. So to be able to work with, people of influence in, in the business world and be able to help them be able to create a more productive, healthier, wiser tribe, community, family, business from the skills that I'm able to forward and help them with, develop. I think that's a pretty powerful journey I'm on. So, so that's where I see myself moving forward. Much bigger scale. Look, I still love one-on-one. I don't think I'll ever stop it. I love the interaction. I love seeing firsthand, to be able to touch, see and feel the results that I get from my clients, to feel the emotion, to see them light up when they do something, to see their body shape change, to see more than anything though, their mentality change to life itself. Because, it's one thing to be able to look good, but there's another thing to actually feel good. And it's something that, I've really taken on board, and with my direction and with my training and with my mentorship and work with clients, is that, if I can make you feel good, organically you're going to start looking a lot better, because you're going to see yourself in a different light to start with. And as I mentioned earlier, what we see and, believe and look upon ourselves when we're on our own means the most. At the end of the day, even the most successful people I've worked with, they can be adored and put on a pedestal by millions of people. But it's who they think they are when they're on their own is what matters most. So, that's something that I'm enjoying, and it's certainly something that I intend to be doing for a while, is that one-on-one. Times may be limited though moving forward, because I am going to fair bit of travel and do a few things. So, but I don't want to lose touch. I don't want to lose touch. I want to be on the front line. I want to still feel and experience and be able to touch and enjoy the results that I get from my clients.
That is extremely powerful, and I'm excited to witness you through that evolution for yourself. Yeah,
cool.
I'm excited for you. And where can my listeners find you if they want to learn more about like your app, your books, your social media?
Well, everything's going to be happening now on Rick Brennan Fitness. So obviously got my social media, my Instagram account, Rick Brennan, but then Rick Brennan Fitness will be putting a lot through that as well. Rick Brennan Fitness is my website, which has got all my offerings. It's getting re sort of, I suppose, built at the moment. Over the next couple of weeks, it's super exciting about what's happening there. So, but you can find me on there. I'm not too hard to find. I love when people reach out and, ask me, for some help or, maybe my point of view or maybe even some motivation to be able to, help themselves. One thing that, be rest assured what you get from me is you get the authentic me. So you get the real me. Everything I do is with myself. I don't have a team of people behind me answering. It's always me. So I have a great team, EA, and I have my my general manager, my wife, who runs the back end of my business. But, when you work with me, you do work with me. So hopefully that some of you out there may need some work, and especially some of your corporate businesses, because I love influencing people of influence.
Yeah, powerful. And I have one last question for you, Rick. I ask all my guests this. Yep. If you were to channel in the first answer, the first message that comes to mind when I ask this question, it would be just the first thing that comes to mind. It doesn't have to be related to what we have spoken about today. However, for the listeners, what would be one piece of advice you would like to leave them with today that you think that they really need to hear right now?
Stay passionate, stay true to your beliefs, and follow what you believe is your journey, no one else's. I think that's the most important thing. Live your life the way you should live it and the way you want to live it. As I mentioned earlier, don't hand the pen over to someone else. Go and write your own story.
Thank you so much for today, Rick. That was amazing.
Thanks, Elise. Great to be here, and hopefully we get some positivity coming from it.
Yeah, definitely. Message us, guys, with feedback. I'd love to hear it. And same on Rick's page, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for being a part of the Generation Elevation community. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to leave a 5-star rating, written review, share, and tag me on Instagram at elise.riley. Until next time, keep loving, keep learning, and keep rising.